I know that on this channel we drink tea. It's books and tea time, let's just be honest. However, for this video, guys, just trust me, I'm going to need this coffee. Hi book friends, welcome back to Books and Tea Time, or welcome if this is your first time here. Today we're doing something incredibly ambitious. Here is the deal, the 411, the plan for this video. I'm going to attempt my first 24-hour reading vlog. This is very impromptu. I was going to film my autumn wrap-up today instead of this video, but then I got a book in the mail. Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. I've been really wanting to read this book, obviously. I bought this book for myself for my birthday, and it just came in the mail today. And I bought this book, one, because I was hearing so much incredible buzz about this book and how amazing and fast-paced and incredible it is, and how wonderful Rebecca Roanhorse is. However, this is the November pick for the Late Night Book Club, which is hosted by three fantastic booktubers: Noelle Gallagher, Joel from Fictional Fates, and Elias from Elias Reads. They host a book club called Late Night Book Club. They just started it in September, and their November pick was Black Sun, and the live show for it is tomorrow at 6 a.m. On the East Coast, which is where I live. So I have almost exactly 24 hours to read this book. It's currently Saturday, December 5th. It's like 4:45. I am predicting this is going to be a 5 out of 5 for me, a 5-star read, just because of how much incredible buzz and how much I love the fantasy genre. This gorgeous book. It's just excellent. I'm gonna find a way to display the cover face out on my bookshelf after this because it's just so excellent. I love the blue and the brightness of this yellow color. It's just gorgeous. And also something that I just realized when I was opening the book, I love the fact that the end pages, the map of this world is in color. It's so rare that you see that in fantasy, and that didn't dawn on me until I saw this one in color. So I really love that. So we're gonna try and read this. However, in addition to that, I have a to-do list of about 25 things that I have to do or that I wanted to finish before the end of this weekend. So it's currently Saturday. I want to be done with all these things by tomorrow evening, Sunday. So this is going to be like half of a get stuff done with me kind of a video, and mostly, so not half, but it's gonna be part get stuff done with me and part consume and devour this fantasy book because I'm so excited for it. So we're gonna see how this goes. This might be a total epic fail. I don't even know. We'll see. It's a pretty long book. Let's get the page count, shall we? So we're looking at like 450-ish pages. Definitely doable, not 100% crazy. I am going to sleep at some point. However, I have kind of, full transparency, been dealing with a lot of insomnia recently. So it's not to say I'm not going to stay up late and read this, because I absolutely am going to stay up late reading this. So yeah, I'm going to suck down this energy juice and then get started. So we'll see how this goes. Hello everybody, it's time for my first Black Sun update. I'm on page 57. I'm killing it so far. It is like 8 o'clock. I'm like 3 hours in to this 24-hour reading blog, and I've got 50 pages. Not bad, not great, but I want to hit the halfway point at least before I fall asleep tonight. It's only 8 o'clock, so we've got a lot of time, a lot of progress that we can make. But let's talk about the first 57 freaking pages of this book. So I'm on chapter 5, I think. Yes, I'm on chapter 5. I've got this cute little Irish bookmark in here. This book is fast-paced and I love it. It's a multi-POV, which is like one of my favorite kinds of fantasy. I love getting a lot of different perspectives from like different places in a fantasy world, because I feel like it just really accelerates the world building when you get multiple perspectives, whereas like when you're following one character in a fantasy world, it's a little bit harder to, like, the world building's a little bit slower, and like sometimes that's okay, but for this I'm just absolutely loving it. So this is a multi-POV fantasy story inspired by pre-Columbian American history. So there's an eclipse coming, and that's like the moment that where I'm assuming all the climax in the novel's gonna happen. So a lot right now we're getting like a look at like what the eclipse has to do with a lot of like the mythologies and politics of this world called the Meridian. And so like there's like this great map, so we're in the Meridian, we've got all these places, and we've got different characters in different places on the map. And our first one, Serapio, is a young boy, and he is supposed to become the next crow god. I think that's just like what the title is, crow god, the crow god reborn. So like his mother is, I guess, a priestess or some kind of occult or practicing witch or magician of some kind, and she I don't want to give too much away, but basically our first perspective is Serapio, and he is supposed to become, at this like winter solstice black sun eclipse situation, he's supposed to become the crow god reborn, which in like one of the like groups of people that live in this particular place in a city called Tova worship the crow god. I have like a weird reverence towards crows as animals in the world, and what's really funny is yesterday there were a bunch of crows in my backyard in the woods, like in the trees in the woods right behind my house, and then today I got this book in the mail. My favorite perspective so far, I've been introduced to 3. I don't know if it's going to be limited to 3 or if we're going to get more, but my favorite one is the second character that we meet. Ziala, I think is how you would say it, or Zyla. I've been pronouncing it Ziala. It's Xiala. So Ziala, Zyla. I'm trying to pronounce it like xylophone. I don't know if that's correct, but she's my favorite character so far. So she is a sea captain. She has these special powers that we kind of get a hint at, but like we're not 100% sure what they are, and she's kind of not 100% sure how to use them and like what situations to use them in. But she is like this really rugged, like badass sea captain, and I just like literally I started laughing because one of the first lines that we get is like the second page of her perspective that we get. She says, "I'm in jail again." Like that's like the introduction, and I'm just like I love that. I'm obsessed with her character. So that's not really a spoiler. I think it's actually on the front cover that you find out that she's in jail, but basically she is hired to transport Serapio to Tova for this black sun solstice situation. She just like makes me laugh, and I just like I get that like I want to be like her kind of a vibe. I can't wait to read more from her character. And then the third perspective that we get is Naranpa. I think that's how I would say it, and she holds the office of sun priestess. One second. Yeah, so she holds the office of Sun Priest, which is the leader of a particular clan, again, in the city of Tova. So there are a lot of clans, a lot of different, like, magic communities, and I'm very interested to learn more about how they relate to each other. Another thing I really like, excellent representation. We already have multiple characters on the transgender spectrum that are being like put in the forefront of the story. There's like so much action. That's another thing that I really love, is like you're immediately thrown into the action. There's some gruesome scenes. There's already been an assassination attempt. I won't spoil who and what perspective, but it's just like things are just happening right off the bat, and we're also kind of jumping in time. It's a short jump for the most part. We're like jumping around on the timeline leading up to this solstice eclipse moment. So I really love that. I love time jump in stories. I love multi-POV, and I just love fantasy. So I'm really enjoying this so far. Again, only 50 pages in, but right now I'm going to read some more, and then depending on when I feel like an update is necessary, maybe page 100, maybe if I push through it at the halfway point. So I will keep you guys in the know. Peace. So it's 1:30. I just came upstairs to my bed. I'm gonna prep myself for bed right now, put my pajamas on, brush my teeth, all of that jazz, and then I'm gonna lay in bed and read a little bit more of Black Sun. But I figured before I do all that, I'm gonna give you guys my quick updates. So I am 10 pages shy of the halfway point of Black Sun. I'm on page 215, so I probably am gonna read a little bit more than 10 pages when I lay down to like read in my bed. So I'm probably gonna pass the halfway point before falling asleep tonight, which is really exciting because the halfway point was my goal for today. I just keep hitting myself in the face with this book. I'm an idiot. So reading experience is still absolutely stellar. There's a very special energy in this book because we're like looking forward to this big moment in time, and we're following a bunch of different timelines that are going to converge at like this big epic moment with the eclipse, which they refer to as the convergence in this world. We're still jumping a little bit in time, which is again really exciting. It's just like it really captures and maintains your attention throughout. So that's one of the reasons I'm reading it so fast, but also just because I'm really loving the characters. So one thing I will say is that around page 200-ish, we do get a fourth perspective. I'm not gonna tell you anything about this perspective because I don't want it to be too spoilery because it comes so late, or not late, but like it's on page 200-ish, and that's almost the halfway point. So like I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but I will say that you do get a fourth perspective. I'm like surprised at how organic it felt because like I feel like it's kind of a little bit strange to throw a fourth perspective in halfway through the book, but it just naturally makes sense based on the plot points to introduce this character at this time. And I think that Roanhorse does a good job of making sure that it feels organic, that we're suddenly getting this perspective and like working that perspective into the story. Also, something that I didn't mention last time, but that I really do like about this book is that each chapter has like a little bit of like a epigraph preface thing. Here, I'll show you. Take my bookmark out. But like you have this marker of the timestamp that gives you like the time and location, right? Location? Yeah, so it gives you the location and the time of the perspective that you're about to read, which is again really nice. And then it gives you an excerpt from like primary source documents from this world, kind of. So you have like journal entries, this one's from a manual, like diaries from one of the characters' mothers. So you get like this really rich backstory that's demonstrated with like these little paragraphs or like these little snippets that you get. I can say with confidence that you really do start to grasp, like the more you read, the more you grasp how the hierarchical systems work and how it corresponds and changes according to where you are in the map. So like they're all aware of each other and they're tied through political and economic interactions, I guess, but they have a very particular mythology and folklore, I guess, or belief system that is tied to each location, and it's really cool to see how they interact, because two of the characters in particular, the Captain Ziala, who I really love, and Sarah Pio are obviously the only characters who have met thus far, because she is ferrying him or transporting him to Tova, and just seeing how they exchange like their stories like in the oral tradition, and the excitement that they get from sharing their stories from their people and also learning of each other's. There was just a really wonderful moment with that, so I really love that. I can also say that I am loving the political drama and the political intrigue, because the third perspective that we're introduced to, and also the fourth perspective too, Naranpa is the third perspective, and then the mysterious fourth one. We get a really like zoomed in close look at an example of a political structure and a political system, and how like that's related to everything else. And there's a lot of backstabbing and mystery. I have a feeling that the last 200 pages are just gonna get more and more wild, like progressively insane. So I'm really looking forward to that. But again, I don't know how much I'll read tonight, but I will come on in the morning and update you guys with how far I got and any other thoughts that I have. But in the meantime, good night, sleep tight, and don't let the bed bugs bite. Peace. Hello, it is now 2 days later, and so yesterday I did finish Black Sun, so you guys can be proud of me. However, it took me a little longer than 24 hours. I literally at 6 o'clock, when the live show for the Late Night Book Club started their live stream for this book, I had 30 pages left. So I quickly read those 30 pages, and then I came late to the live show, and then I rewatched like the first 30 minutes. So I'm gonna count it. I made it. It took probably like 28 hours because I slept in, because I stayed up until 4 in the morning reading. So I slept in really late, overslept, and then it was just a whole thing. But I finished. So I am going to talk about my rating, my thoughts, and all of that jazz. But first, I got some stuff in the mail that I wanted to show you guys. First, I got my copy of The Fires of Vengeance by Evan Winter. I just talked about this in my What I Got for My Birthday video, because I told you guys that I had ordered this book and Black Sun, so I got both of them obviously, but I just got this one in the mail today and I'm so excited. This is the second book in the Burning series. I don't know if it's a trilogy, but the first book is The Rage of Dragons, and I read it over the summer. It's an incredible fantasy book. I'll have my original reading vlog where I read The Rage of Dragons in a card above, but I think I'm gonna read this week. Like, look at this cover. Oh, gorgeous. The dragons. I love dragons. If a fantasy story has dragons in it, I am 100% there. Also, something that I mentioned in my What I Got for My Birthday video that I hadn't had yet but was coming in the mail is my first Sips buy box. So this is a tea subscription service, and my mom gifted me a 3-month subscription for my birthday. Thanks, Mom. Gotta love it. Well, both my parents did, but like my mom picked it out. So thanks, Mom and Dad. But I got my first subscription, and full transparency, as you can see, I already opened this because I couldn't wait. I just wanted to quickly show off the teas that I got, because this is books and tea time. We love tea, and I'm probably gonna try one of these later, but I don't know which one I'm gonna try yet. So I got 4 kinds of tea. So the first kind that I got, I think this is the one that I'm the most excited about, just because it's the most out of my comfort zone, and that's like kind of one of the things that I was really looking forward to in getting these teas. And this first one is called it's a roasted herbal tea, and it's called Dandelion Caramel Nut. So look at this. That's what the package looks like. This one is definitely just like right up my alley. It is an oolong tea and it is raspberry rose, and it's a loose tea in this little package. It says that there's 4 servings, and I love loose tea as well as like bagged teas that are already in bags, so I'm really excited for this one. But like I really love fruity tea, so this is like not surprising gonna be delicious. Then I got English breakfast, another favorite. Love English breakfast, love Irish breakfast. And this is from the brand Ahmad Tea. Yeah. It's just an English breakfast. So I got 4 of those. And then I got this tea, and hold on, I forgot the name. It's called Tuscan Dreams. Now, let me just read this to you. A relaxing, soothing blend of herbs, fruits, and flowers that will transport you to a sunny Italian countryside and make your stresses drift away. I mean, isn't that what we all need right now? To be on an Italian countryside with no stress. This is like talking itself up on the front cover. It's another loose tea. I'm really excited to try this one. I'm excited. I love this box. I am already obsessed with this thing, but it comes with this little card that tells you like how to steep them and what the brands are on the back, and it's just like cute. Oh, it says made for Addie. I didn't notice that. They put my name on it. That's adorable. Okay. Yeah, so I'm already in love with this company. So I got that out of the way. Now let's talk about Black Sun. I gave this book a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I absolutely love it. I probably am going to read it again, because one thing that I regret is that because I read it so fast, I didn't tab it or mark anything, and there were so many tab-worthy moments in this book. So I probably am going to reread it at a leisurely pace, probably when like the second book is almost out. I'll probably take some time to reread this. So let's talk about my review system. So the first category of my review system is characters. Now for characters, I'm going to give a 4 out of 5 stars, because also I realized that I've been pronouncing all of the names wrong, so I'm going to try and correct that. So I loved Shala's character, Shala. Not 100% sure. Again, I could have been messing that up, but she's the sea captain that I was telling you guys about. She is hands down my absolute favorite character. I love everything about her character, and my only complaint is that I want more. And I loved Serapio. I've heard it both ways. I've been saying Serapio, but a lot of people said Serapio in the live show. I loved their storylines. Every single time I saw like their name at the beginning of a chapter, I was like, this is gonna be such a good chapter, and I was so invested. Nara. I didn't love Nara's character. Here's the thing, is that I mean, every time I came to one of her chapters, I like read them and I was invested in the story, but I was just so excited for Shala and Serapio, when it came to Nara, she was like my least favorite of the 3. I still liked her perspective, and I think that her chapters are really well written, and I love the look that we get at the politics, but I just didn't love her as a character. So that's one complaint that I had in the character department. And then one other thing that I just wanted, again, it's just more of a I want more of this. So we get a lot of flashbacks in time when we are in Serapio's like character, like when we're in his mind or like in his world, and we're following his POV. We get some flashbacks and then some present moments with him, and I wish we had that with Shala. There are hints of her past, and we learn that she has these powers she's not sure about, not sure how to use them, not sure how to control them, or the extent of her powers, and we learn a little bit about her past, and there's a lot of mystery. But one thing I really hope that we get in book 2 is actual flashbacks of scenes from her past. And I think that this book sets up the possibility for a lot of character development and a lot of like evolution for individual characters, but also the relationships between characters, and like some of the characters haven't met yet, so I would be very interested to see them meet. The next category is world/plot. Let me just start with the world. The world building is excellent. It's a little confusing at the beginning of the book, I will admit that, but Roanhorse does an incredible job of making sure that by the end you aren't lost and you aren't confused. And I think that there's a lot of potential for more things that we can learn. Like, we don't really get a close look at every single clan, which is like obvious. It's kind of hard to get a look at every single clan in a fantasy book that's less than 500 pages. And I don't think it's 100% necessary for the immediate story of Black Sun. Something that I'm really looking forward to hopefully seeing in the next book is an expansion of the other clans in the priesthood, and also a look at the Teak. The plot. Here's the thing. I love the fact that the book is leading up to this one big event, the eclipse. I love that. And I don't mind that the whole book is kind of leaning up to that moment. Like, I saw that coming. I wasn't expecting the eclipse to happen in the middle of the book. Like, it's the climactic end moment. However, my only thing is I feel like the book needs like one more chapter, because the ending it was a little rushed. Again, it's just I wanted more. So that's that. And then we have entertainment value. For this, again, I gave a 4 out of 5 because of the end. I wanted a little bit more, and I thought it was a little too fast-paced, but also because it's kind of hard to describe. So it's like each perspective gives you something special about fantasy. So like it takes a fantasy trope or a particular like convention of fantasy and it makes it special based on that character. And I think one of the things that I really loved about Nara's perspective is that Roanhorse does an excellent, amazing job of giving you those feelings of anger and just like you want to scream about the political situation. This is one of the conventions that I really like in fantasy, or one of the tropes that I really like, is when political tension is written really well, and that is something that Rebecca Roanhorse does well. It makes you frustrated because like people are like double-crossing and backstabbing and all of this, like, and it's just like it makes you angry, but like in a good way, that like you're interested in the story. So that's one of the things that I really liked. However, I feel like Nara's perspective was just a vessel for creating that, so I want to see more from Nara. Intellectual value, 5 out of 5. First of all, we have a fantasy story that is centering indigenous groups, that is based on pre-Columbian America. So that's a really rich perspective, and I'm really glad that this book is getting so much buzz and that it was put on my radar. Also, the representation is rich. There are multiple characters on the transgender spectrum. We have non-binary characters. It's just so great. Also, Shala, keep saying her name wrong, my favorite character, is pansexual, and everyone, I don't know, maybe this is me being ignorant and stupid, but everyone in the live show referred to her as bisexual. I don't have the particular quote because I didn't mark it, but there is a moment in the book where Shala is reflecting, and I don't know if she's talking to someone or if she's thinking in her head, but she says, "I have never had any problem developing a romantic connection with man, woman, or any other gender." And I think that it's really important for her character not only to recognize pansexual narratives and to make sure that they don't get erased, in addition to bisexual narratives not being erased, right? But also it's really important to Shala's character in this world, because her identity, she feels like she is on the outside of so many different places. So her native group, her people, the Teak, are a very mysterious and almost like mythological group of people, because like no one knows how to find them, but there's a lot of like lore and history about them. So they don't have any men on their island. So because Shala has had relationships with men, she feels sort of on the outside of that part of her identity and of her past. But then also in the world where she's just traveling as a sea captain and other places in the Meridian, there are certain pockets of people who are very conservative and do not approve of her relationships with other women or other people of different genders. I think she finds multiple points of difficulty in just finding a place in the world. And one of the things that I really love about Jala is that she's so unapologetically herself no matter what. It's not to say that it isn't incredibly difficult for her, because I think it is difficult. Also really essential for her relationship with Serapio, because she identifies with him as someone who is different, who perhaps hasn't found their place yet. Next category is timelessness. I gave timelessness a 5 out of 5. Basically, timelessness for me is, would I reread it in the future, and do I think that in the future it will still hold up, kind of, you know? So like reading a book multiple times, like every time you read a book you're at a different point in your life and you get different things from it, and I do plan on rereading this. I do think that I'm gonna get a lot out of it next time, tab it up, so I gave it a 5 out of 5 for that reason. Lastly is my bias, which I gave a 5 out of 5. I love fantasy. The tropes in here just absolutely cater to what I love about fantasy. I loved Shala. Like, when the characters get me, that's when I, like, it really sinks. Like, if the characters sink their teeth into me, like, I just, like, I'm gone, you know? I loved this book so much, and I have started yet another fantasy series. I feel like all I do is start fantasy series and not finish them, but, you know, what can you do? That is going to conclude this a little bit more than 24-hour readathon. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe if that's your jam, and I'll see you in the next one. Happy reading, happy writing, and happy living. Bye, guys.